Hey guys, just wanted to come out and kind of decompress at the end of the day after teaching and doing my own lessons. I still take weekly lessons with Russell. You're never too good or too old or experienced to keep taking lessons. You know, there's always something more you can learn. And that's what's so great about the discipline and instrument is that it's literally limitless, you know. And there's famous people who are like, you know, the 90 years old, as quoted in saying, you know, man, you're such a master. You can play anything. You just amazingly, you know, you've mastered the instrument so well. And their comeback is like, well, not quite yet. Maybe in another year or two, you know, like as in there's always room to grow, and there's always more that you can add to your arsenal or to your tool belt, you know, that kind of thing. So what I went ahead and did, guys, and just because I said it's more decompressing for myself today, but I wanted to showcase the Aquarian texture coated. I did on all my toms, in addition to my snare, and I finished the 16 as well, and everything's still, you know, kind of stretching and getting in its final form, if you want to call it that. But unbelievable how these things sound, man. Just wait till you hear these floor tops. I mean, my goodness. Okay, so I'll just start, you know, doing some quarters and eighths and that kind of thing so you get a sense of each individual voice. Carried away like always. But and snares are pretty tight right now too, so let me go ahead and loosen those. Yeah, I'm kind of with Brian on that. Brian likes his snare tension right at before they're too loose, you know, where sympathetic resonance is going to get carried away, but to where they still give that good character and good snap, but still have kind of a little bit more of a sustain to the snare sound than, you know, if they were tighter. Plus, the tighter your tension, it's going to choke your drum more, right? So, anyway, it's just saying, you know, we all learn things from each other, and I am with Brian on that one, where I kind of like my snare tension a little bit looser. Just because I play a lot of ghosts too, so let me get the camera angle down there. So when you're playing a lot of ghosts and stuff and a lot more articulation and needing kind of more of that sensitivity, then that's usually the way to go, you know. Because like in these Aquarian texture coated heads, they're so sensitive and they produce one of the best tones I've ever heard of any, even far superior, you know, like Evans or the most expensive Remo makes, that kind of thing. You know, these heads, I'll put these up against any of the best other manufacturers' heads any day of the week, just because of how far the ranges are. And like I said in the previous video, it's always better to have and be able to take away than to not have the capability in the first place and never be able to achieve that sensitivity and resonance and that kind of stuff, you know, to as your starting point. So, okay, snare. no moon gel, that kind of stuff. I can use some moon gel just to give you guys a quick sense of what it'll sound like, because it's great fat rocks sounding snare too, just a piece of moon gel. Cool, right? That's what I mean by it's better to have and then be able to take away with muffling, tuning, and all that, than never have that in the first place and be able to achieve it. Okay, so just my opinion, by the way, too. This, not saying you have to do what I'm doing or any of that, but just just things I've learned along the way, and from some very good people too. So take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, do what suits you for your best sound and what you enjoy and all that. I'm all for that. I'm just giving some options if people are interested in trying some other sounds and some other heads. I can highly recommend these, okay? So now here we go, moving on to 10-inch tom. And listen how, the sympathetic resonance is so severe that's why I had my snares tightened as much as I did in the beginning. Because just listen to this 10-inch tom. Without any moon gel too, so right. And I like my drums to sing. I like my drums to have maximum resonance and be able to sing, especially for gigging and playing, because you want that spread and you want it to be able to have the full. Because from audience perspective, the overtones are actually good because then it matches. It all kind of works to its own EQing, if you will. Out from audience perspective. But here's with a piece of moon gel. Okay, without, with. Okay, same thing with the 12. About the texture coated too is they're so sensitive that you can play with touch and you don't have to hit so hard to get the note out. So that's what I really love about it, because I'm more of a touch player than power stroke in everything I do. So here we go now with the 12 with the moon gel on it. Yeah, that tone is just, I love that sound. Okay, you can see it, you can't really see it, but I'm smiling from ear to ear because I'm so happy. I think because I finally found my sound, where I've used, Evans G2s over G1s and the same, G1 coated. That's actually what I had on the snare before this texture coated was just Evans G1 coated, which makes a great snare head too. Not knocking those by any means, but they don't use Mylar plastic, the same materials that Evans and Remo does. They use a proprietary material which has different sonic properties than a standard piece of Mylar or plastic does, okay? So that's what gives them their cool sound. Plus, then it's not a sprayed-on coating. It's a special type of coating that's basically baked onto the head. So this is just a single-ply head, but it's 10 mil and has those sonic properties, okay? All right, to the 14. And I mean, it's so resonant. It's making my cymbals like it. You know, even though my snares are off, it's still, you know, all that, which is cool. I like having that because that means that, you know, the capability's there. Then just take it a little bit away. And let's move the moon gel just even a little bit further towards center. We got the 16. So the 16, you're going to be blown away when you hear this 16, my friends. And obviously, I have it just like totally the lowest of the low tuning. But that's kind of what I wanted to just experiment with. And literally, it's just a hair past finger tight. And this was the last head that I put on, and I had to run to work. So I actually haven't gotten to tuning this drum, to be in all honesty. But I just wanted to show you what the sound capabilities are. I always just get carried away because I have so much fun playing, you know, with that. But yeah, man, this thing is like an atomic bomb going off. This 16, and yeah, it's like I said, it's not in tune. Okay, guys, I get it. But just showing you what the capabilities are. Because, man, once I get all these matched in thirds and all that, and it's very close already like that. Kind of cool, right? Okay, so then... So, you know, I could throw some dots on it too, you know, that'll help, you know, these dots, those are always great to use, especially for, you know, floors, that kind of thing. So, let's throw a dot on there, and yeah, mine are old and don't stick too well, but they still work, okay. Alright, so then let's hear it now. Not much of a difference, but... Okay, but just to give you guys an idea of what the overall sounds are, I love these texture-coated heads. I absolutely love them. And if you're looking for the maximum low end you can get, these are the heads. These are the heads. So you can always use your own muffling, you know. And another great thing is these packs come with all the things that you would need if you want to tailor make your sound with O-rings, that kind of stuff. Obviously, I have some other ones from other stuff. But it came with this, in addition to coming with a power dot, and 2 strips, too. 2 of their tabs. So that way, you could even use those on your floors or whatever, you know. To kind of tailor make your sound. But so, and they're currently offering these with a free 14-inch included in it too. So you pay the price of a tom pack for 3 heads, but they give you a 14 included in it. So for me, like, because I got 10, 12, 14, 6, 8, common dimensions. But what I did was I ordered a fusion pack because I have a 13-inch snare drum, right? But the fusion pack comes with 13 and the 16 and all that. So I needed the 16, I needed the 13, and I think it came with the 10, maybe an 11 or 12. I can't remember exactly. But the point being is that then I was able to retrofit, what was meant as the free head for a tom, put it on my snare. And then, the 14, the extra 14 that came with it, put that on my floor tom. So it just depends on what you can find, because the regular packs, they're all sold out and they're all on back order. But the fusion packs you can still find, and if you're smart about how you order it and all that, you can get that extra head and then use them on all of your kits. Okay, last but not least, what I'm going to mention too is I did put Aquarian Classic Clears as my rezos. So, like I said, I typically use G1 Clears, Evans G1 Clears as my rezos. And the Aquarian Classic Clears are a very similar head to those, except, again, they use their different proprietary materials, and the sonic properties are quite a bit different than what an Evans G1 is. So, I've got a 300 mil on, for my snare, but the Classic Clears, as the rezos on all the rest of my toms, matched with the texture coated for my batters, okay? But they're single ply on both sides. Single ply both sides. And that for me is what I like, because that's going to give you the ultimate low end and lowest fundamental you can get, more than a 2-ply can. And that is arguable, but honestly, a single ply head, with a lot of the research and sonic properties they've done, they've shown that a single ply head gives you more low end than 2-ply heads do. So then from there on, then you can just make it to be how you want it to tailor make your sound. So put the O-rings on. Well, we got one here. Might as well just put it on one, just Doesn't change it much either, because this drum's so resonant. And also, you can see this one is old and bent, and it doesn't sit flush on the head. So probably not the best example. But point being, the kit comes with all these great things for a low price. You get an extra head, and then you also get the power dot, plus the O-rings. It's a great package, and it will give you a great sound. So I highly recommend it, guys. tom rim shots really well too. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted. I was having so much fun as usual, but yeah, there it is, guys, and all through just the EAD. So everything you're hearing, none of my other mics are engaged. In fact, many are sitting over there on the floor. You know, you can see I've got you know, my tops and my bottoms. I've got even a bottom hat mic. You know, I've got bottom snare and a top snare, two going into my bass drum, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the EAD is still the heart of my operation, even when I'm using all the other stuff in my full array. So my full array plugs obviously into all those channels as my interface. But even when I'm using my full array, the EAD still is the heart of the operation because it picks up all your sound from center mass. And if for those of you that aren't quite understanding the significance of that, it makes a huge sonic difference whether your drums are sounding like more airy and in the room, or if the sound is being picked up literally inches from where the shell is. Okay? So, you know, let me see if I can show, but like, look how close, you know, the shell and the sound source, including the snare and everything else, is so close to the microphones that it picks up the truest and, you know, grittiest, in addition to you can customize it so you can roll it off and make it sound not gritty. You can add effects. You can bypass all the effects just to use it as microphone. But my point being that even with all the other microphones and blah, 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 the EAD is still the heart of the operation, and I don't do any recordings without using this, because then I have stereo coming from center mass in addition to stereo overheads. So then I have two stereo pairs to mix, and one that sounds from center mass and one that sounds more like it's in the room. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. But that's what the EAD is so great for, because not only is it great for recording and doing things like I'm doing right now, just to create videos and upload to YouTube, that kind of stuff, but it's great for practicing. It's great for, you can actually use it for Zoom lessons, like where then your audio for the EAD is through your Zoom lessons and your live streaming and all that, rather than your mono, you know, whatever your computer or phone or whatever you use to do your online lessons with is. So, I mean, so many capabilities. And you can plug it into the main PA of any live gig, so then you're coming out of the house. So you're, even if you bring, you know, just a little bop kit, you can make it sound like an arena kit just with this one box, you know, and it, you know, with the module that controls it. But just literally the one box that clips on, and is it really gonna like overtake having, you know, individual microphones on every instrument? No, but it's very, very close. And for the price point and how easy it is to use, plus all the other features, I'd say it wins. I honestly would. Because the other ones, you have to have an interface. You have to have a DAW. You have to have a dedicated computer. You have to, you know, on and on and on. The interface, plug everything into. So it's not as practical. If it's just going to stay in your studio, then yeah, then those systems are great. But if you are, you know, going to be taking it places, using it for multiple different functions, playing to cover songs, using it for teaching, doing videos like I'm doing now, man, the EAD is the bee's knees. because this was the first microphone I bought just so I wouldn't have to buy all the other microphones. And look what I came back to after all of that and all the experimentation and all that. The EAD. So, it's a fantastic device. So, because honestly, with your recordings, guys, and I promise I'll end the video here, is as long as you have a good sound source, so meaning well-tuned drums. It's okay if you don't have the best drums, but getting the best sound you can out of the drums you have, or the instruments that you have, right? So that's crucial to a good recording, a good sound source. Then the next thing is just having microphones that will pick up that good sound source, okay? So I just have a Behringer interface, because the interface, as long as the sample rate and everything, it's just creating a WAV file and it's just routing everything. So you don't have to have expensive stuff in that sense to get a good sound. It's just really your sound source and the microphones. That's what you should invest in. So good sound source, good microphones. Everything else can be dealt with in post editing. And you can tailor make your sound that way. But if you don't have a good microphone, even an SM57 or lower end even things like T-bone mics, things like that come in kits. Those are awesome. Those are great starter, but they cost even more than just the EAD does. And you have to buy an interface. You have to have a DAW. You have to have all these other things, where the EAD is just plug and play, and you're ready to go. And it comes with the free app that you're watching me on now, and the app does all the work for you. So it maps any song you put to it. That's what my last one was, where I was kind of just testing out where I was playing to a song. All I did was just go to ytmp3.cc. If you guys don't know about that little trick, you can take any YouTube video you find. Please don't strike this video, YouTube. That you can pull the MP3 out of the video file just by dropping the link to the YouTube video. And again, it's ytmp3.cc. So not .com, .cc. Then you can take that and drop that into the Rec and Share app, and you can play to any song in the world and bypass all the licensing agreements. So that way you can literally take any song you want. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. You can loop parts. The AI part of the Rec and Share app will automatically map the song and tell you exactly what the BPM of the song is intuitively, without you having to tap the tempo or do anything. And then once you're done recording, it will automatically sync the audio from the recording of your drums and then the song audio, match the two together as one file, and then upload it to YouTube for you. I mean, it's a piece of cake to use, and it has so many functions even beyond what I am describing. But for live playing, for practice, for YouTube videos, for covers, for just watching yourself back and kind of, that's what I like to do, is analyze my mistakes. And that's why, even I post stuff with a lot of mistakes in it, because that way I'm learning and I'm just kind of keeping a visual diary of like, oh, that didn't work so well, or oh, that did work. Okay, let's keep that, but let's throw the other thing that didn't work so well away, that kind of thing. But we all make mistakes. We're only human after all, right? And making mistakes is the way that you learn, because self-discovery is the best teacher. And take that from a teacher, okay? So, self-discovery, it's like a great teacher can show you the way and describe things, but it's the person's self-discovery that's the best teacher, because then they internalize it and get it, So, All right, guys, love ya. Hope you like the texture-coated sounds. I mean, just amazing, the timbre, and I'm so happy because I think I've finally found my sound that I'm just going to stick with this because now I can change all the muffling and moon gels and O-rings and all that to suit different sounds. But as far as the head combo and choice, this is it. This is it. You can always match your drums to see if they're in tune with one another by hitting both at the same time. And see how they're not sticking out like wah, 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 wah. They're matched within those, like you're playing a chord, you know, but as drummers, we're not playing chords technically because we're playing drums, but playing more than one note at a time, it's still considered a chord, right? Okay, and then and you can hear that those are off because, I haven't tuned this one like I said. But that's a great way to check to make sure, and then see how the timbre of the snare kept matching with even when I went down in thirds, but with the toms. So that's kind of how you can dial in your sound a little bit better too if you're having trouble tuning. But honestly, a lot of people have asked me, can you do tuning videos? Can you do tuning videos? And I have done them for the way that I like to tune my drums. But to be completely honest with you guys, it's the ear. It's the ear that does the tune. And I'm not trying to be like, I have a great ear, so that's why my drums are tuned well. No, not like that. But what I'm saying is that it's the trained ear that's what creates the better tuning, okay? So it's not just, and it is, quality of drums, quality of heads, that kind of stuff too. But the way you get your best tuning is by having a good ear, okay? So a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's true. It's true because if you know how to use your ear, then you're more likely to find a good, clean sound that's musical. You want a musical sound. You want a musical sound, and then that way when you hit whatever third, so that way when your guitar player, your bass player does it, you're matching the same note that they're playing on the drums. Okay? So, kind of cool that way. Alright, love you guys. Thanks for letting me decompress and do my little spiel at the end of the day and all that. I had a rough day, so thanks for being a part of this, and I can't believe how well the EAD picks up the sound, and then now with these texture-coated heads, oh, I'm in heaven. This Mapex Saturn with these Aquarian texture-coated heads is by far my favorite sound, and I've tried so many different combos with on this same kit, and this by far is my favorite combo. So give it a try. It can't hurt, and if you don't like them, okay, cool, but you can always go back to your other heads, but they're cheap enough to where you can get them and experiment with them, and it's not going to break the bank. But I think after you try them, you're going to really like them. You're going to really like them. All right, guys. Take care.